Good morning, this is the latest market news. I'm Uliana. Asian shares held mostly steady on Wednesday ahead of the US Federal Reserve's policy statement. Later in the day, the weaker yen helped Japanese shares. The Nikkei 225 gained for a second straight day, up 0.4% amid yen weakness. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index was flat, with Chinese property developers down after signs of further weakness in China's housing market. Average new home prices rose 5.4% from a year earlier in May compared with a 6.4% gain in April. In Australia, the ASX 200 lost 0.1% as resource companies remained in focus. Elsewhere in Asia, South Korea's Kospi was down 0.3% and the Shanghai Composite fell 0.3%. The Japanese yen held mostly flat after central bank minutes and trade data painted a mixed picture for the economy. Japanese exports face headwinds with a political crisis in Thailand, a key supply chain hub hurting business and acting as an economic drag, minutes from the Bank of Japan's May board meeting released on Wednesday showed. Separately, Japan's May trade deficit reached 909 billion yen, narrower than the 1,173 trillion expected. US dollar Japanese yen traded at 102.14, down 0.01% after the releases. Earlier for the first quarter, New Zealand's current account showed a surplus of 1.4 billion New Zealand dollars, wider than the expected 1.30 billion. New Zealand dollar US dollar traded at 0.8664, up 0.08% after the data. Britain's bullish economic news of the late will come into focus again today with the release of the June Monetary Policy Commit Minutes. The main issue on Mr. Market's mind: is there a growing consensus among policymakers for an early rate hike? Later we'll see new numbers on weekly mortgage applications for the US, news that comes a day after an unexpectedly weak report on housing starts and permits. Soon after, the Federal Reserve releases a new edition of its quarterly economic projections, followed by Fed Chair Janet Yellen's press conference. It was the latest market news provided by ICO FX. Goodbye.